With encouragement from President Trump, House Republicans are looking at ways to protect America's tech giants from massive fines and other punishments being handed down by regulators overseas.
Chief Washington Correspondent James Rosen spoke exclusively with the committee chairman at the center of those efforts and joins us live now. James, good to see you.
Bob and Katrina, good afternoon to you. It went largely uncovered by American media, but last week saw a tour of the United States from Capitol Hill to Silicon Valley conducted by a woman named Henna Verkunen. She is the executive vice president for tech sovereignty at the European Commission, an arm of the European Union. Verkunen's tour of the states came less than a month after the EU fined Apple nearly $570 million for alleged violations of the Digital Markets Act, an EU regulation 3 years old that forces American firms, according to industry analysts, to turn over their intellectual property to European and American rivals. Apple has assigned some 500 engineers to devise a means to comply with these EU regulations while protecting the company's intellectual property. Company sources have said Apple is considering withdrawing from overseas markets in some measure, as other countries are preparing similar regulations. In a tweet on May 15, Verkunen posted a photo of her meeting the day before with Apple CEO Tim Cook at the firm's Cupertino, California headquarters. And she added they had a, quote, candid and good exchange on EU digital rules enforcement, among other subjects. And shortly before 4 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, Verkunen posted a photo of her meeting the day before with House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, saying their exchange too was, quote, candid and good. In an exclusive interview last night, the chairman told Newsmax his panel is eyeing legislation that could impose travel restrictions and other penalties on overseas regulators who take actions that infringe on Americans' freedom of speech or intellectual property rights.
One of the lines I remember getting that she said is, she says, well, the companies in Europe, they're supportive of the Digital Services Act, the Digital Marketing Act. And I said, well, you don't really have any tech companies in Europe to speak of that are the really big platforms like we have, of course, with Meta and with X. So, yeah, we talked about that as well and how we think that could be harmful to speech and, frankly, harmful to American companies.
Through the EU embassy here, Henna Verkunen declined to comment for this story. EU officials have said the Digital Markets Act was conceived to help European startups compete with the tech giants. Before he left for Saudi Arabia last Monday, President Trump told reporters, quote, about these huge fines the EU is levying on Apple and other U.S. firms, it's not going to happen any longer. Bob and Katrina.